So today, I bring you a brand new car that's up to date and one of my favorite modern sports cars that I love I'm willing to talk about. The 2020 Toyota MK5 GR Supra, one of the most controversial sports cars to release a long while ago. But despite being controversial in so many aspects, I really love the new Supra because this car design just looks beautiful, sounds amazing, and one of those cars from Toyota I want to own and drive in real life. But the new Supra has been deeply criticized due to the fact being heavily based on a BMW Z4 and sharing a lot of components from BMW. Most of the hates from tuner enthusiasts steams that this new Supra has a collaboration between BMW and Toyota. After the new Supra has been out for a couple years, it has been quite successful in terms of performance and sold really well in 2020 than it did in 2019. So in this video, I will take you on a review tour about why this new Toyota Supra is one of the most controversial sports cars ever made, and how did Toyota revive the legendary brand nameplate of the Supra, and does it still live up to its heritage? First, let's rewind back to the history of the Toyota Supra that made the car become popular. The Toyota Supra was born in 1978 and started as an affordable yet fun and reliable sports car, while the first two generations were based on the Toyota Celica's. Then by the late 1980s, the Mark III Supra became as a standalone model and was separated from the Celica platform and got faster and better. Then in 1993, the Mark IV Supra released and became the best Supra ever made in its series, and later peaked between the late 90s and early 2000s, where the car became famously manifested in the Fast and the Furious film as a hero car in 2001. One of the common features that made the Mark IV Supra so popular was that the bulletproof 2JZ engine that was designed to be pure, reliable, and power-friendly that can handle up to over 1,000 horses. The Mark IV Supra aged really well with its iconic smooth lines and remains unmatched with a lot of room for modifications. It gained remarkable following and is regarded as a future classic. However, in 2002, the Mark IV Supra dropped out of production worldwide, leaving fans to wait for the next Supra to arrive in the next roughly 18 to 20 years. In between, the Supra's legend has only grown, so is the hype and so is the pressure from fans on Toyota to resurrect the long-lived Supra to bring back the sports car icon. The Mark IV Supra successor could have been based on the FTHS concept car, which debuted at the 2007 Detroit Auto Show. But Toyota wasn't rushing for the Supra successor, but instead was creating early design concept cars for the Toyota GT86. Then in 2010, Toyota shocked the automotive world when they filled the trademark of the Supra name. Then Toyota subsequently showed off its concept car in 2014, the FT1, and its design is aimed at the past Toyota sports cars. Front mid-engined, rear-wheel drive, draws inspiration from the 2000 GT, earlier Supras, and the FTHS concept car because of its right proportions approach, like having a wide body, long hood, and with a clear hood window showing the engine bay, functional aero wing, and smooth shaped lines of the car design. Many enthusiasts and journalists given this a positive reception and recognition of the traditional styling. To be honest, the FT1 looks great ahead of its time as a concept car for 2014. For some of you who played racing games, fun fact, the FT1 concept car only appeared exclusively for Gran Turismo out of most racing games. Then 5 years later, in January 2019, when Toyota first unveiled the return of the new Supra after a 20-year absence since the legendary Mark IV Supra, it was a huge flop that triggered the majority of tuners and car enthusiasts because Toyota revived the iconic Japanese brand by collaborating with BMW to make the Supra. But reviving a legendary brand is a hard task, even for a big-name automakers like Toyota. So why did Toyota change the entirety Supra's heritage? Well, before I get to that, I didn't expect Toyota to change the car too much, especially the length of it, and neither anyone did. When comparing the concept and production from the side profile, they shrunk the production model a lot by 11.5 inches. When comparing the front section of both models off the bat, the first thing you'll notice is the FT1 has a wider nose than the Supra, and the overall shape of the headlights are nearly the same. And the rear section of both models have the biggest difference of the FT1, huge aero wing, while the Supra comes with an integrated ducktail spoiler. and including taillights are the same. Now I will admit, both models' design provides a unique and aesthetic appearances in their own way, and I don't hate them both. However, when I recall the MK5 Supra when it debuted, a lot of car enthusiasts were so furious and annoyed that they took their frustration out on the internet and social media and bullied and teased the hell out of the Supra. All because Toyota confirmed the new Supra is strictly based on a BMW Z4, and this wasn't the type of Supra that they were waiting for. And at first glance of the MK5 Supra, to them and myself, body looked like the Z4, share most parts from the Z4 like the 3-liter B58 turbocharged inline-6 engine and the whole interior from BMW. That was enough for most fans to spread negative comments online like it's a BMW Supra or it's a rebadge or rebody of the Z4 and not built from the same heritage, and especially the engine. I don't think the car looked bad at all and thought the new Supra looks awesome, but the residue looks after its predecessor is far from the MK4. Trust me, I get it. Unlike the MK4 Supra and the FT1, the MK5 Supra is bubbly rather than sleek and combines sharps and organic cues. The aggressive figures like the rear fenders are so muscular in conjunction with the sharp frame of the quarter window. The front hood is shorter and the car isn't sleek as the previous Supra. That's why many found this design uninspiring, since it seems too small and too similar sized to the Toyota GT86. Enthusiasts expect it to look something like the MK4 Supra. Also, there are a lot of fake vents everywhere to complete the aesthetics, like the ones on the corners of both front and rear of the car, on the hood, and on the doors. But Toyota added those fake vents for tuning companies to enable them to aftermarket and improve the car a lot better. The only vents that remains functional is at the center front bumper for air cooling and improved power. The most interesting part at the back is that I love the taillights. They are very distinctive with the reverse light at the bottom middle that looks like an F1 light with the two exhausts separated, and Toyota returned the iconic Supra font from the 1990s Supra. At least they did something right. I also do love the overall styling of the MK5 Supra, and yes, sure, Toyota didn't directly copy BMW looks. As you can see, the both front and rear lights and the fenders are very unique. But it's clearly similar to the Z4 from the side angle, like the arching roofline, and accurate lines from the old E89 Z4 than the new Z4. Toyota did a great job designing and modernizing the Supra either way, but could be better. My only issue is that they could have made the car longer like the FT1 and the previous gen Supras. Otherwise, I'm not complaining. So why did Toyota teamed up with BMW to make the Supra after the FT1 concept car? Well, the mission wasn't easy, but it was in fact a good reason. It wasn't about convenience or money, it was about doing it in the right way. Toyota's car chief designer, Tetsuya Tada, and the performance boss agreed upon that BMW join the development of its legacy sports car that is attainable but capable. Toyota didn't want to spend a lot of money and consuming time developing their own inline-6 just for the Supra, so Toyota decided to borrow BMW's inline-6 from the new Z4 because BMW already had the equipment that Toyota required for its new Supra. Therefore, the new Supra, along with the new Z4, was built inside the country of Austria instead of Japan, and BMW was their only source to have a powerful inline-6 engine. The MK5 Supra shares the same platform, same powertrain, same interior, and the same motor as the BMW Z4, which is what bothers fans. Despite the Supra's engine was tuned different, the twin-turbo inline-6 produces 335 brake horsepower at 6,500 RPMs and 365 pound-feet of torque combined with an 8-speed automatic gearbox, which means the Supra goes to 0 to 60 mph in just 3.8 seconds and tops out at speeds over 170-ish mph, which makes this the fastest production Supra ever made. In the upcoming year, the 2021 Supra had more updates and received more increased power to 382 brake horsepower, which is 47 more horses than the 2020 model. Either way, the Supra stacked up against its competitors like the Porsche Cayman, BMW M2 CS, and soon the new Nissan Fairlady this year. Although the Mark 5 Supra does deliver enough power, sharp handling, and amazingly performs like how the new Supra was intended to be. But it's very disappointing that a manual option is unavailable unlike the previous gen Supras, one of the reasons it upset most fans. But the Supra's chassis is stiffer than the Lexus LFA, and the suspension is forgiving enough to drive daily, providing 50-50 weight distribution with lower center of gravity, making the Mark 5 Supra more balanced than the Mark 4 Supra. The Mark 5 Supra is 200 pounds lighter than the final Mark 4 Supra. Thus, the Mark 5 weighs about 3,350 pounds. Inside the Supra, much of the Toyota's interior is shared with the Z4. Also, I want to share that I spotted the real Mark 5 Supra in real life and then sat inside the car just to explore some quirks and features, but never driven it. The Supra is a driver-focused car as the cockpit is tight, and although due to the descending sloping roof, tall drivers will have less headroom. Me being 5'6" or 5'7", I felt alright. Toyota didn't just copy and paste the BMW interior into the Supra, but it features many elements borrowed from the BMW. The steering wheel is clearly from BMW, except they revised the spokes and made some changes to the rim, like adding a Toyota badge, but a lot of buttons are similar. When I think of a modern BMW, I see a lot of buttons and controls in the cabin, and that's exactly the case here in the Supra. BMW dual control panels, the entire center console, radio control unit, AC unit, iDrive infotainment screen, and the turn signal stacked are all borrowed from BMW, except the digital gauge cluster differentiates from the Z4s and very original and unique to the Supra. The practicality of the Supra is actually decent than you would expect from the coupe hatchback. The Supra has 10.2 cubic feet of cargo space, which doesn't sound like much, but is actually larger and deeper than what you'll think just from opening up the narrow trunk lid. The final thing I have to say about the Mark 5 Supra as opinion-based, I think the collaboration with both Toyota and BMW was a great idea, because if it wasn't for that, no new Supra. They had to grant some sacrifices in order for their sports car to stay in a competition with other German sports cars. The Supra is a low-volume sports car and isn't cheap. That's why Toyota split development of the Supra with BMW, and BMW makes some of the most dynamic cars with great tech and engines on the market. Therefore, the Mark 5 has better tech than its predecessor, and I don't see anything wrong having a BMW engine because the B58 is a newly highly reliable engine, tunable and fast. Sure, the Mark 5 Supra may not have the same heritage as the Mark 4 with its undefeated 2JZ engine, but at least Toyota were very smart and cared about the Mark 5 making it super tuner friendly. Toyota strengthened and modified the B58 engine for reliability to meet their reliability standards, and they did everything to save a lot of money. That means, yes, the Toyota Supra could be more reliable than a new Z4. Despite the Supra being really quick with the shifting times and automatic, no manual option was given, which is a mistake, and most hardcore enthusiasts desired that more engaging than an automatic, and I understand that. But so far, Toyota has made two different versions with two different engines of this Supra. The base model with a 2-liter BMW Turbo 4, which is more efficient, or the 3-liter Turbo Inline 6, which is still good. I'm on par with y'all that I'm hoping Toyota reveals some more exciting Mark 5 Supras in the future and resurrect the manual ones, and the GR Supra Targa top, a throwback to the Mark 4 Supra, and honestly, they should, and it's always a good possibility depending on Toyota's chief designer and customer demands decision. Then it will fully have the heritage back rather than partially. So love it or hate it, take it or leave it, because times have changed, and I fully can understand why some people despise this Mark 5 Supra no matter what. But underneath, it's an awesome sports car with a few missing features that could be added and improved. Now, additional facts. Toyota Motorsport introduced the GR Supra GT4 in 2019, which is based on a GR Supra, designed to go racing in the GT4 World Challenge. For example, GR stands for Gazelle Racing, and this features the same turbocharged inline 6, but modified to meet the homologation standards for race events. The car has 430 brake horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque, combined with a 7-speed sports auto gearbox with pedal shifts and the mechanical limited slip differential driving the rear wheels. And she virtually performs amazing and sounds amazing as the road car, with no sound deadening at all. And so, this is where we are going to end this car review of the 2020 Toyota MK5 GR Supra. And I hope you guys really did sit back and relax and enjoy the little bit of history of the Supra and how they resurrected the MK5. And if you so did enjoy it, make sure to click that subscribe button and hit that like button for some more upcoming car reviews in the future. And as always, you are more than happy to give me any car suggestions in the comments down below to what to review next. Let's virtually walk to the 2020 MK5 Supra and get inside and put the keys into the ignition and start the engine. Make sure to adjust your headphone volume for the car sound and hear the GR Supra GT4 test drive running a lap virtually at Road Atlanta. Peace out and stay safe.